as many folks here. But first of all, I want to thank our state representatives, Tom Coons, right there, Champion, Republican, Jasper Martis, Democrat. Kind of like the way I work, back and forth. And Matthew Bierlein, a Republican. From the great state of Michigan, and it is a great state, we do about $60.6 billion of trade back and forth. There's 140 Ontario companies that are based down in Michigan, 110 Michigan companies based here, and we're just discussing the situation between our two great countries. And I've always had the AmCan Fortress, American-Canadian Fortress, making sure that we're the strongest, wealthiest, safest two jurisdictions in the entire world. And I just appreciate the relationship that we're building with our closest friends and allies. We're going to continue building on that, making sure that we, as I was telling the gentleman here, I always believe in you can't unscramble an egg, you have to make the omelet larger, especially when it comes to the auto pack. But similar to Ontario, Michigan isn't just auto, it's very, very important, but it's everything from agriculture to food to manufacturing to tech. And it's just an incredible state to do business with, and I look forward to going down and paying all of them a visit. So that's what we had a conversation about, and I'll open it up to questions.
Premier, did you talk about the tariffs that?
Right now, I can tell you, I don't think there is any AmCan Fortress
China, the 100%
that he's talking about.
tariff.
None.
Prime Minister Carney is headed to Beijing. It sounds like he's in discussions with the Chinese government about lowering that tariff in exchange for, canola concessions and other things. Are you worried about that?
I'm very concerned, and so are my friends in Michigan concerned. When you have China coming in at a low cost of EVs, is concerning. We as everyone knows, those parts go back and forth between Ontario and Michigan 7-8 times and get assembled in Michigan or get assembled here in Ontario. And when you have the Chinese government wanting to dump cheap Chinese parts and cheap vehicles here, it costs the Canadian and American jobs. So I'm absolutely 100% dead against this. I have not talked to the Prime Minister. I will speak to him and tell him our concerns. And this is nothing against the folks in the canola business or soybean. We have a thriving soybean business here too. So it's not about them. I fully understand why Premier Moe is concerned, but he's protecting Saskatchewan. I'm protecting Ontario. The 500,000 jobs in the auto sector, that's what I'm focused on. And it works back and forth between Michigan and Ontario and many other states. So it would not be good for Ontario and Canada, and it sure the heck wouldn't be good for the U.S., and it wouldn't be good when it comes to negotiating with President Trump.
But Premier, you said the other day, though, that if the Chinese automakers came in and invested in a plant, hired Ontarians, made products here,
Yep.
that you'd be open to that.
There's a difference there.
Okay.
You can't just dump cheap vehicles here. If you want to open up a plant, and I'm not speaking to for our American friends, the president, but if they're willing to come here, invest in a plant, just like GM, Stellantis, Ford, Volkswagen, Honda, Toyota, and come here and manufacture and create jobs and create parts here, well, now we're on a whole different page. But if you want to just come here and dump vehicles that will hurt Americans and Canadian jobs, in my opinion, it's unacceptable.
But you haven't discussed this with Prime Minister Carney at all?
Oh, he knows how I feel very clearly. I'll be reaching out to him, and we're going to meet up in Ottawa with a COF meeting. So I'll express.
But he's in China now, though. Shouldn't
I
this
will.
conversation have occurred?
I will reach out to him, and I'll text message him, and just tell him our concerns.
Do you know of any Chinese companies doing what you're describing? Any Chinese companies who would invest in Ontario like that?
Well, we'll have to see. I'm going to sit down with the Prime Minister when he gets back, find out what the conversation is, and we'll go from there.
Remember, you said many times that there are.
The fact that Scott Moe is going to China with the Prime Minister
Isn't that a pretty strong signal from the Prime Minister that he's looking to back down on EV tariffs in order to save another Canadian economy?
Well, Scott's one of my closest allies, and he's going there to protect jobs and canola jobs in Saskatchewan, as he should. I'm doing my job as Premier of Ontario to protect jobs here. So wouldn't it be great if we could protect all the jobs? But let's see what happens when they come back, and we'll have a conversation with both of them.
Speaking of other premiers,
Yes.
Canoe is actually going to visit the Crown Royal Distillery facility today in support of what they're doing there. Have you spoken with him? Do you know
I did.
what he's thinking at this point? And do you support
I talk to Wob frequently. I just got off the phone with him probably an hour ago. He did tell me he's going up to the Crown Oil plant, and I told him, God bless him. He's doing his job. He's trying to protect jobs in Manitoba. I'm protecting jobs here in Ontario, and he respects that. I respect him. We have a phenomenal relationship. He invited me over to the Jets and Maple Leafs game. That's happening. By the way, he owes me probably a dinner at McDonald's because I won the last bet, and he wants me to come there and go to a game with him. But he's a fine gentleman, I'll tell you that.
Are you still planning on taking Crown Royal off the shelves?
As sure as I'm talking to you, that Crown Royal is coming off the shelves.
Premier, you've said many times that a lot of people from the U.S. of all stripes, including Republicans, agree with you that what Donald Trump is doing on the economy in Canada is hurtful, harmful. I wanted to ask you too if you agree, if you are one of those people that said that to the Premier.
So we're here.
If you can go to the mic.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, we came here to reassure the Ontario government that Michigan is a friend and a partner, and we're going to continue to promote that trade back and forth. We tend to not get involved in national politics at the state level, and certainly don't speak for the president. But Michigan is a friend to Ontario and plans to always be a friend to Ontario.
Did Ontario's electricity surcharge and that threat hurt your relationship with Ontario at all?
Again, please.
Ontario and the Premier threatened to remove Ontario electricity from Michigan. There was a surcharge added for a day to your electrical supply. Did that hurt the relationship with Premier Ford at all?
I don't believe so. I mean, you're doing what you have to do to protect your economy, and we do what we need to protect ours.
Premier, Line 6 of Finch West LRT has been had non-stop problems, non-stop closures. Your transportation minister was asked earlier about it, but I wanted to get your take on it. Apparently the issue is the heaters used on the switches, they're electric, should have maybe been gas. It was the same problem that affected the Ottawa LRT. What do you make about the non-stop issues with Line 6?
Well, I wouldn't say they're non-stop. You always have kinks in the rails, excuse me, a pun there. But once they start moving, they'll start moving pretty smoothly. But I always, rather than always talking about the negative, I like talking about the positive. As I was telling our friends from Michigan, that we're building the largest transit system in North America. We have the Yonge Extension, the Eglinton West, the Eglinton Crosstown, which hopefully they'll announce early February. The Mississauga LRT, Hazel McCallion line, the Hamilton LRT, and the Ontario line, of course. So I think they were pretty impressed that we're spending close to $80 billion when it comes to transit, another $30 billion when it comes to expanding our roads. And so there's always something that's going to go wrong at the beginning, but we're going to get it fixed, like anything else.
Are you concerned about those same problems coming up on the Eglinton Crosstown, and is that why there's no opening date for Line 5 yet?
No, we're working with the TTC. They're the ones choosing the date, so I think it's going to be early in February. We'll be there, and they've run it. I find these numbers, are these accurate? 500,000 kilometers back and forth testing prep? Over that, than 500,000? Almost 2 million miles testing it out. Good thing is, a lot of it is going to be underground, so that resolves a lot of the weather conditions.
Will you have a date on that? You say early February. Can we put a date?
Yeah, we're leaving that up to the TTC. We'll be there to support them. We'll be there for the announcement. I'm not one to put an exact date, but I'm guessing if everything goes smooth, it'll be the first couple weeks in February, and I can't wait. That thing's been a nightmare for me.
February.
Why did your government continue or give Keel millions of dollars after the forensic audit was started?
Well, we didn't know what the forensic audit. We were now. Let's keep in mind, we were the ones, the government, ones who called for the audit, and we're the ones who called for the OPP. So we're going to see how this plays out, and I'm not going to interfere once the OPP are involved. They're going to come out, and we're going to find out what's happening there.
If there's a forensic audit though after the initial audit, isn't that a sign?
Well,
that there was some red
we
flags the government may have
didn't get the results from the forensic audit. You just don't do an audit and all of a sudden go after someone. But what it tells us is the system's working. If something doesn't smell right, doesn't look right, we audit a lot of different agencies, a lot of people that we give money to, so the system's working. Knowing the auditors are going in there, then they ask for a forensic audit, and then they called in the OPP, and we'll see what happens from there.
New
Yes.
report just dropped today that says homelessness is getting worse. There are 85,000 now Ontarians who are living without a home. And while there has been significant funding, it's not keeping pace with the amount of people who are becoming homeless. Is there more
Well,
we can do?
we're putting hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into helping people, homeless people. Best way to help a homeless person is getting them trained and getting them a good paying job. And that's what we're doing. We're training 750,000 people so far. And I want to help those people. And I know they want to get back on their
Bingo,
feet and,
train him. He's got it
be able
down.
to
That's what I
rent
agree with.
a apartment or a condo,
I
or
mean,
eventually, if they save enough money, buy one.
I'm
So
not
we're
standing by
focused
the
on that and
side of
creating,
any
economic,
liberal cheering on, but when they're right, they're right.
Conservatives MPs in Manitoba were saying that pulling Crown Royal out of the shelves will hurt local jobs there.
Well, what I say is Crown Royal should have thought twice before closing their plant here, and they're moving it. So
Would you
that,
reconsider?
no, I'm not reconsidering. And Crown Royal, Diageo, they should have thought of it. Who goes after their best customer? No one does. We were their #1 customer in the entire world, and they wanted to come after us and close down a plant and have people lose their jobs. That plant's been around close to probably 100 years.
Premier, we're hearing from homeowners in Toronto and the GTA that the recycling still hasn't been picked up since January 2nd. You said last week that if these issues persist, you would look at making a change. How long are you going to give this company?
So let's first talk about Toronto. What Toronto didn't, and maybe you folks should look into it, they forgot about 2,000 residents. There's 2,000, let me rephrase that, 2,000 stops. And some of these stops could have 50 residents in a condo. So they just got that just a few days ago. And when you try to make a transition that quickly, and then they decided to change the date when the pickup was, and left it up to circular materials to get the message out rather than them doing it. But in saying that, talking to folks like GFL, they have like a 98, 99% pickup rate. So with anything, when you start, to change things and make a move, you're going to have a few kinks. But I'm very confident next week
Yeah,
or two. I
that
know
rubbish
our
from
officials are meeting with them
recycling
today.
pickup, and I'm not.
They're going to get it all straightened out.
It's
But
very
there's
cheap
another
in
option,
Ontario. Let me
right?
tell you,
No good deed goes unpunished. We uploaded, it used to be.
it ain't been
the
good
producers
since they
50%,
changed the
municipalities
dates here
50%.
where I live in
Because I'm a
Ontario.
good guy and I love municipalities.
They
I
changed
uploaded
companies
everything.
and dates.
And all of a sudden, there's a little kink when you make a massive transition of almost 1 million, for instance, Peel, 1 million pickups, and you got a couple kinks. Well, we're going to iron those kinks out. The other option for all the municipalities that want to complain, especially some of the lefties down at Toronto, why don't you take the 50% and start paying it? And you can run your own recycling. But we uploaded it. So thank God that we did that, because it saves the taxpayers tons of money in all municipalities.
It don't save,
all the
it don't
444
save the
municipalities
Ontario
across
money though,
Ontario.
because they don't get what happen to have
I'm sorry, who unveiled it?
recycling. It's
Yep.
not what it used to be. If we were in it, you can't do it for nothing. You gotta at least make back what you spend to take it away, and they don't. They're not buying recycling for what it's worth
so
anymore.
folks that are listening out there,
Plastic recycling is going to be illegal soon.
Revenue tools are called taxes. They want to tax the pants off you. They've taxed us to death in Toronto enough of these taxes. As I say, government doesn't have an income problem, they have a revenue problem. Stop spending money. Start focusing on areas that you can drive efficiencies. I keep telling the story. When I went down there, it was $776 million of pressure. We delivered a 0% tax increase. Next year, we delivered a 1% tax increase. So they have to start driving efficiencies and standardization across the city. And I gotta give the mayor credit. She kept the taxes low this year. So thank you, Mayor. We get along very well. But we have to continue looking at ways to drive efficiencies. And by the way, there's no government. We got diddly squat from the city of Toronto when I was down there, nothing. What we've given them, $9 billion, with a B, $9 billion to support the city of Toronto, and we have to continue making sure that the cash flows. So we're a good partner. I like the mayor, and we're going to continue working with the mayor.
Parents who are really frustrated with the daycares being told by public health authorities right now, or last summer, that they can't use paper towel rolls and toilet paper rolls and egg cartons for arts and crafts for the kids. Do you think that's a little bit excessive?
I don't know who's telling them that. Why not? We grew up, use egg cartons, use whatever. I didn't heard that. It doesn't. I've never heard that. But anyways, isn't it great that we're trying to get the daycare down to $10 a day? But we have to get the federal government to pitch in now. We knew this was going to happen, but think of the money that people are saving now. It's less than half the cost it was before. So, well, public health, they got to talk to the public health officer in Toronto. I don't know. The kids should be kids, right? We all grew up with the crayons and everything else, so I don't know what the problem is.
Premier, I have one final question
No,
on
final
the
question.
lawsuit, the government's lawsuits related
Yeah.
to Keel.
Yeah.
The Keel lawsuit shows that.
I agree with the mayor. I don't see any problem. Maybe the eggs, because of bacteria that can come in with the cartons, if there's a broken egg, but
The staff concerns about funding for that company. Are you still supporting
COVID and flu and the other stuff that we deal with now, they don't want in the school, and they don't want you to keep your kids home no more if they got lice. So
but folks, again, I want to thank our great colleagues.
public
from
health is a
Michigan.
little bit much.
Do me a favor, if you're ever in the summer, you want to go to a beautiful destination, go visit our friends in Michigan, because they're going to come up and visit us.
No.
As
Sorry.
well. And we're going
That's
to
where I
continue
disagree.
growing on the $60.6 billion US of two-way trade. We're going to continue building relationships with my great colleagues.
I disagree with him there.
I've always
Don't
said
support
I love
Trump.
the U.S. Canadians
That's
love the
what I
U.S.
say.
And we're going to continue focusing on making sure that we have the strongest, most vibrant, safest economies in the entire world. So, gentlemen,
And Michigan loves you guys, so thank you for having
thank you.
us. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
All right. Well, there we go. Sorry about the ad. They kind of snuck that in. He must have ran over a little bit. We'll see you later. Don't forget to leave the comments, and we'll be back.